Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you like any of the videos, you like what you're hearing, you like what you're seeing, please hit the like button, subscribe button, share it out. Here we talk any sports, but it's been mainly football. We get some great coaches on here. Anybody that wants to come on and talk some ball, you guys got an offensive play you like, offense you just want to talk about, defense, a drill, anything unique you do, or if it's just as simple as ever and you want to come on here and present or talk, please reach out. I love talking ball. I love meeting people and building these relationships. I'm having fun. So please share this out. Let's get this growing. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you enjoy the channel.
Oh
Hey,
my
guy.
goodness. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to the show. Before I get started, wherever you're listening from, like it, share it out, do all that good stuff. Get more eyes on this as much as possible. Appreciate anybody that's already shared it out on any social media. Today I have Coach Stone as my guest today. He said he'd love to be on the podcast. I'd love him to be on here. I'll have anybody on here, so anybody wants to come on, they can. Coach, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Could you please introduce yourself to anybody that doesn't know who you are?
Yeah, I hope we can edit this because I gotta get that $20 back from you because you're letting me on. So I just want you to know. So if you guys know Coach Steve, please tell him to PayPal me that $20 back. I would appreciate it. My name is Coach Anthony Stone. I grew up in hometown Illinois. I loved gym class like everybody probably did when they were little. And I loved I played football, basketball, wrestling. I played everything in high school and in grade school. Like my junior year, I decided to just play football. I was a lefty quarterback. I was very fortunate to make the playoffs at Revis High School in Burbank, Illinois. And then from there, I went to college to BC in Kansas and Atchison, Kansas for Coach Wilcox. He just won his 300th game. Congrats, Coach. And decided to transfer out and get to Loris. And then I had a great career there with Coach Aminiak. He's now back there as a head coach. And then after that, I was my last game as a football player there. I was offered a job, and I'll probably talk about that a little bit later, as a graduate assistant at Rockford University. And then after that, I met my beautiful wife on the campus, and I decided to stay in Rockford and became a teacher. And I was a college coach, won a gold medal with Team USA in 2010 with the ladies, the first women's tackle team. I don't know that people might think that's weird, but the first women's tackle team. And I'll tell you right now, those ladies could hit like a really hard. We won 3 games, 201 to 0. And I was a defensive coordinator at the time. It's still a national team record. No national team, no matter what gender, has ever not been scored on. So then I've also coached in Australia. I was the women's assistant head coach and defensive coordinator there. I've coached in college with Boylan College. I've coached at Rockford University. I've coached at Rockford Christian. And then most recently, I came out of retirement, and now it's going to be my 5th season at Rockford Boylan. And I'm also an elementary school teacher in Rockford. So that's a little bit about me, Coach. And I want to thank you for having me on. I totally appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
I appreciate it. I was trying to write everything down, everything you've done. I've ran out of my paper already. I was like,
Stop.
trying to
Stop.
write it down. No, thanks for coming on. I'm sure we'll get to some of that here in a minute.
Yes.
So you've done a lot, coached a lot. So you probably said it and I wasn't paying attention because my mind wanders. How did you decide to coach? Because you played and you went straight to coaching. Was there something that happened? Was it from played for, or how'd you get into it?
Well, it's funny to say that, like, right? Like I explained all the stuff I've done, right? But I didn't talk about my company, my Coach Stone Back to the Basics company. I didn't talk about my, coaching accreditations or my camps or my books, right? I didn't talk about any of that stuff. But the reason why I don't sometimes is because here's the thing. I love football. Talking to you before we started this thing, we both have a passion for it. And that's the thing I would say. Why did I get into coaching? And I coach everything. Like I have 5 kids now, and I have a lovely wife that lets me coach. She lets me go away on the weekends and does my football camps for my Coach Stone football. She does a lot of things for me. I call her my CEO. I got into coaching besides loving it, but just like the chest of it. Like people say it's like a checkers game or a chess game. Football to me is like chess. And I don't mean to be rude here. I don't know if you're like this, Steve, Coach Steve. Football's like a drug. right? If you don't have it, like, I don't know about you, but you're probably going bat like I'm bat crazy right now, not coaching. You know, we were just talking. I actually coached a game last Friday in Australia, sitting where I'm at right now. And my call sheet was literally as big as it is on a Friday night. It's like this big. It's literally this big, my call sheet. It's that big. That's how big it was. I mean, and I know I loved it because the GM and the head coach were like, well, coach, you got to have this big paper. And I'm like, ladies, we don't need that. You know, and they had the wristbands and everything. And, you know, I want to thank KG and Coach Stacy Spears and Coach Bryce for letting me do it. And they won their first game. And there was one of the women's coach, as a second women's coach in New South Wales history ever to be a head coach for a women's team. And, you know, it was great. And the thing that I really liked about it is when my career in college was coming to an end, I had the opportunity, and I want to thank from the bottom of my heart. I know I don't ever talk to him, Bill Deasing, you know, and I believe he sells like apparel and things like that. So I forgot where you're at, Bill, but from the bottom of my heart, thank you, because my last game at Warburg, I came in, I threw a touchdown pass, and you know, I remember Coach Berry saying, "Hey, you know, I should have played you more this season." You know, it is what it is, right? And what was great was I'm shaking hands. We're at Warburg, but we're at the high school at Warburg High School because they were just getting new turf the year after, so I wasn't going to play able to play on that. And Bill Deason's walking towards us, and we're shaking everyone's hand, and then it's finally sinking in that my career's over. I'm done, and I'm probably never going to play again. And then all of a sudden he goes, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "Hey," and he goes, "You know, I got this place I'm at. You know where I'm at?" I'm like, "No," and he's got all this Rockford gear on. He's like, "I'm at Rockford College. We just started a program. It's going to be our second year after this year. I would love you to come and train the quarterbacks and receivers if possible." And I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I know you're a pain in the butt and you're crazy and a lunatic and everything like that, but you know, I think you do great." So I did that, and I did it for 2 years. And the great thing is we went to the Minneapolis Metrodome in Minnesota. We played 2 bowl games there, and it was a great career. And I got my master's there for special ed, and it was awesome. And what's even cool about it is how I got the job, because you remember the Chicago Rush, right?
Mhm.
So
Yep.
when the Chicago Rush just came out when I graduated, and I was still in football shape, and I was like, you know what? I want to see how far I can go. Let's just try it. So the same day I had an interview at Rockford University, I had to try out. And I don't know if you're like old school, like my dad, God rest his soul. He went there and he's like, oh, because he wanted to see me still play in a way, right? Because he didn't get to see my last game. So he goes there, and I'm like 116. You know, you got this arena football shirt on, and you like this, and they didn't bench press the quarterbacks. I don't know why they didn't, because I was strong. I had the school record at Loris. I was 415 for squat, or 425. I forgot what it was. Hopefully it's still there. I don't know. And I had a couple records at the time. They're all broken now because, you know, everyone's spread. Where we were the West Coast back in the day, like no one could have broke the record, I thought. Um, so we get there. I have a good practice. We drive separately because I got to go right to Rockford University, and they have like 200 players there. And, you know, some belonged and some didn't. I don't think I belonged there at all. I'm going to tell you, to be honest, the truth. I think I ran a 4.93 40. That's horrible as a quarterback, even indoor, right? My shuttle was like a 4. What is it? In college it was a 4.29. Here it was like a 4.44. Okay, that's okay for a quarterback, I would say, in a 20-year shuttle. And I started throwing. I was like one of the few lefties there, and they liked it. I don't know why, but they liked like me just zinging the ball everywhere. And the first cuts came, 100 people left. Like, I'm not lying to you. Like, they must have had 200 in that little like area they played with the indoor football. 100 people left. So then I'm like, oh, I'm like looking at I'm like, I didn't have a cell phone at the time because, you know, it's back then. My dad had his, like we had a flip phone he gave me, and I'm looking at it. I was like, okay, boom. And then all of a sudden the next cuts come. Now we're down to 50 people. Well, now I'm going to be late no matter what. I can't go from where I'm at to Rockford because it was like in Schaumburg or something. I forgot.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, it's a long time ago. And I get all the way to the end with like 10 guys, and then my name doesn't get called, right? And it is what it is, right? And they said, well, we'll invite you back next year. And I'm like, that's cool, right? And what I noticed there is when I called Rockford College at the time, right before I knew I was going to be late, they're like, oh, just finish it and come out when you're done, okay? So my dad was like super proud of me. I think that's the one thing that I loved and I remember from him is he was so proud of me that I went so far. I felt like I disappointed him. He didn't care. He says, just go kick your butt on your job interview. So I drive up to Rockford. It's freezing cold. I'm still wearing the shirt. I'm wearing ripped jogging pants. I have my suit and tie in my hand. I'm walking in, and Bill Deason could tell you, because I mean he was there, and he's like, I'm like, Bill, where do I change? And he's like, is that Stone? That Stone guy I heard about that played quarterback at Loris? And he's like, yep, he's right here. And I'm like, hello, Mr. It was Vic Clark. If you guys don't know, he's a Hall of Fame coach. I go, hello, Mr. Sir. How you doing, Coach Clark? And he's like, well, come on in my office and let's talk. And I'm like, well, do you want me to go change? And he's like, no, you're fine. Your sweatpants and a shirt. Just bring your stuff in. So I bring my bag and my suit and tie in on a hanger and sit down. And I love it because I remember him sit back and he leans back in his chair like he always did, like this. And he really things like, so Bill tells me that you're pretty good at what you do. And I'm like, well, I don't think I am. I don't, even though like back in the day we were cocky quarterbacks, right? I mean, hopefully I'm like not as bad. Well, I know I'm not as bad. Trust me, my wife told me. And so it's funny. He's like, okay, so what do you think of the school? And I'm like, well, it's snowing outside, Coach. I just drove up and I didn't see nothing of it. And in my heart, I'm thinking to myself, to my dad, I'm like, well, if I get this job, my dad can still come see me play, or not see me play, see me coach. And he's like, okay, let's do this. Let's go watch some film really quick. So then we just walk in. I'm like, you sure you don't want me to get changed? He's like, no. Let's just go. So we watch film, and he's just asking me questions like, how many in the box? What high is it? What's here? What's there? And this. And remember, when I was at Loris and I was at BC in Kansas, we didn't know what a wide receiver screen was. I'm going to tell you right now. So when I played in 96, 95, 96 to 2001, did not know what a screen was. Okay, never ran one in college or nothing. We ran halfback screen, the old halfback screen. Never ran a screen. And then I'm like, that's pretty awesome. And then that's how the whole thing with Bill, I think Bill said it first, and then I always stole it from him, where it's like screen them until they cry, because they didn't have a big line, so they would screen the crap out of people, and then they'd get upfield with the fast receivers. And I'm like, that's pretty awesome. We got to run that a lot more. And then all of a sudden he's like, okay, so great. And then he puts me on the board. And it was the first time not the first time I was ever on the board, but he put me on the board. And I thought I did really good, because after I was done, he's like, you got the job. And then my thing was like, so I don't have to change. Nope. And I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, they're like, let's go eat. So by the time I said, hey, let me throw my stuff back in there. And I just like ran to my car, it was my Jeep Cherokee at the time, I believe. And I called, or whatever car it was, maybe, it was a Jeep Cherokee. Call my dad. And I'm like, I just got the job. He's like, did you interview? And I'm like, I don't know if that was an interview, Dad, because I just got the job. I mean, I'm seriously, I just asked like a yes or no question, and they put me on the board. And then I remember taking them around the weight room. They fed me first, and they took me to the weight room. I met a couple guys. I remember meeting John Lucazzi. He's now a great friend of mine. He does my websites and everything for my Coach Stone football and my GA stuff. And, it was so great to be a part of a family. And I think that's why I got into coaching also, besides the love and the drug of it. And honestly, if you think about it, ask all these coaches that you ever have on, like when you got into football, did you meet your wife through that or something? And Steve, you know this right now. If you're not married to a football wife, you're not going to be married. Or if you're not with a football wife, you're not going to stay together, because they have to have that certain type of crazy that we have.
Right.
Staying up all day. Like right now we're on this podcast. She's putting together 5 kids. That's like, that's a basketball team. And if they have any part of me from when I coach and everything, I just feel bad for my wife. That's why I never help with bedtime, because they'll never go to sleep. So that's why I got into coaching. And I don't mean to like just give you a little blah story. I never really told anybody that, but if Bill Deason's listening, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to see if I still have your phone number. I'm going to text you, or I'm going to tag you in social media and say, thank you, Bill Deason and Vic Clark, for letting me be one of the first GAs at Rockford College, because that's what it was. It was the first time they had GAs, and I was one of the 4. There was 4 of us, one of the 4 first GAs. So thank you both to you guys, if you guys ever listen to this.
So your first coaching job was straight into a GA spot, like
college coaching, up in the box, where I love it. I don't know. We didn't talk about that, Steve, but I'll tell you this right now. I'm afraid if I ever become a head coach, I'm truly afraid of it, because I honestly think I would go up in the box.
See, I was an OC, and I did it up in the box at first.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of trust issues. There was a lot of like, is what I'm saying getting to the players? That's just a whole nother thing. But I said, I didn't have the feel for the game. So I said, screw it, I'm going to the field. And I've been on the field. Well, I've been on the field ever since.
Yeah.
I've been in the box a couple of times, and when I'm not an OC or something, I like being in the box because I can think.
Hmm.
But then when I was calling plays, I have to get a feel for the game. I have to like talk to the players. I have to do this, and I don't know. Unless it's raining, then I'm like, I want to go to the box. If it's back up to the box.
You know, the funny thing is, here's what I don't get. Like, I'm so happy I'm at a part of my life where titles kind of don't mean nothing like you used to back in the day. You know, when I was a special teams coordinator, I want to thank Chris Brand for, at Beloit College head coach. He works at Rydell right now. He made me a special teams coordinator for a year or two there at Beloit College. That was awesome. And I don't know if I deserved it or he just was like, you know what, I'm gonna give this to this guy, so he just leaves me alone. You know, but it's a great feeling. But I love it up there. One of the stories. I don't know. Can I tell you a story? You gotta love this story.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, great. Okay, Chris Brand. We got to tag Chris Brand in this, or when you retweet this, I'm going to say Chris Brand at this minute. You got to tell me what minute I talk about this, but I'm going to say, hey, Chris Brand, we got to do this. There's two stories out of Chris Brand. They're great. The one he's going to hate me for. The other one is he might laugh. So I watch a crap load of film. I don't know if you watch Coach Steve like as much as I do, but I live at that stuff. If my wife falls asleep early upstairs with the kids, then downstairs in our master bedroom, I'm like watching film. On Friday nights, I'm watching film, or when I come home or whatever, I'm breaking down film right away, just like seeing what we did better or whatever. And I remember we were playing a team. I forgot what the team was, but we're playing them at Beloit College. It's our first game on the turf. And I said, listen, I'm telling you right now, if we receive the ball, we will score on the kickoff return. And I loved it because I loved Coach Brand because I think every week, I don't know if you ever did this, Coach, every week I got fired. I must have got fired 5 times a week, maybe 10. I don't know. I remember sometimes he's like, just leave, just get off the field, you're fired. And then I walk off the field, like I'm like, what do I do? I'm like leaving because he's even though he's shorter than me, I'm like, he's the head coach. He's good to be king. I remember one time giving him a bunch of crowns from Burger King, and I handed out all the coaches. So when he walked in the meeting, we were all wearing Burger King crowns. And the funny story was, so we get the ball, and he goes, so help me God, Stone. If this doesn't run back, I will fire your, and I don't know, I'm not going to say what he said, but he's like, I'm going to fire you. And then all of a sudden, boom, I remember his name, Kenny, but I forgot, I think it was Kenny Anderson, catches the ball, runs. Jacob Fisher, I remember, makes an awesome block, takes out 2 guys, and then all of a sudden, boom, runs it for a touchdown. And I thought that was the greatest thing because I stood up and I looked like this with my headsets, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to be fired for real this time. And then all of a sudden he broke it, and then I'm like yelling. I don't know if you've ever had a coach do that, and Coach Brand be like, yeah, he never shut up sometimes in that headset. And I'm not lying to you. I must have been so loud that time, and it was the greatest feeling in the world when that happened. And then the other story for Chris Brand was, like I said, one of the greatest college coaches, head coaches in Division III. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, he was great. I mean, sometimes he didn't treat us like he treated us like his sons. And I'm gonna tell you right now, what he did was awesome. One day we're at a college. I won't say, he'll know which one, and we get beat on a play, and he's like, we should fire that secondaries coach. And I'm like, me and the other guy and him on the headset, and I'm like, Coach Brand, you're the secondaries coach. He's like, shut up, Stone. So I don't know. That's the story. I had to tell you that story. And Chris, I hope you're not mad at me, but you know what? I'm gonna tell you right now, you made me a better husband when I was working with your staff, made me a better person, and you made me a better coach. So from Coach Deasing, Coach Clark, and even Coach Barry and Coach Miniak and Coach Wilcox, I learned a lot from you, but we won't talk about that. But I say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
So, what was it like coaching in college? Like, you're a player, now you're a GA. Did you guys have to go out and recruit? Were you guys involved in that at all? And like, what's that like? We recruit kids in the hallway.
Yes.
That's completely different than sitting down recruiting a kid. So how did you adapt to recruiting? You're a player, now you're the one trying to recruit them to come and play.
Yeah, it's amazing too, because when you go to college, your players are your best recruiters, right? You have the coach that brings them in, but then you try to pair them with a player that you think they'll have a great time with. Because that's the whole thing about the atmosphere, right? The thing I would say is this: I've learned a lot from, Coach Herminiak, Coach Deasing, and Coach Brand. Those 3, and Coach Crosby too. He's a great guy too. I just talked to him like a couple hours ago. The biggest thing I would say with those 4 guys, I learned so much in recruiting, and I took golden nuggets from them. And by doing certain things, and here's the thing I loved about some of those guys. If we didn't have the major, we told them straight out flat, we don't have this major, but we can give you something close to this if that's what you're still interested for. You know, that's one thing I liked about those guys. They were just not investing in the kid. They were investing in everything about them. Like, I mean, I thank Coach Tremaniak a ton. And I thank Coach Deasing a ton, because when my dad would come to the games, either for the game, even though he wasn't even the head coach at the time at Loris, Coach Berry was, they would say something to him, right? Because he recruited me, Coach Tremaniak. And then Coach Deasing would always say hi to my dad at the games. You know, even though I was up in the box at Rockford College, he would like say hi to him. And he was really great about it. And just by being a person where when you call a recruit and you say, hey, how's the dog doing? Or how's the girlfriend? Or something like that, it just makes it more memorable. And then when you see them, like, you know how this is, Steve, you get them for 4 years, then they're gone. And then the likelihood of them coming back is very minimal. Okay. Because what happens if they go somewhere and they're a bench warmer? You don't see those kids come back. Or you see the kids that play 4 years for you, and then they stop playing, and then they come back and they're the ones in the stands saying, oh yeah, when we were here, we were 9-0 and things like that. You know, with recruiting and the guys that I recruited, and, you know, things, I still keep in touch with some of them. And the biggest thing I love about them is, even with Coach Aminiak, Coach Deasing, and CB, they made it so the kids appreciated the education and the athletics behind it. You know, come to our college because like this, come here for this, you know, because you know how it is. How many kids you had in high school, they went to a college, they went to this college just to play football. Then they left that semester, or they left the following year. Where I thought with those guys, those kids would stay and be like this. And that's the cool thing I like about them, because their senior classes were always big. I mean, if you, I don't know how big I don't know how small the last one was or whatever. I remember when I left at Loris, we were like 25 strong. That's pretty good for a college class, you know, and like even at Rockford University or Rockford College, you know, if we asked John Lakazi, I remember his senior year, they had a lot of seniors. And the thing is, some guys, you know how it is, they're freshmen and they're not playing right away. They leave, you know, because they think it's greener on the other side. And sometimes it's not. I mean, just building those relationships, being honest, I think, because you know how they say it. Some recruiters are car salesmen, and it's once they get caught, you know, it hurts them. And then you know how it is. If you're at, where are you at right now?
You're at Addison.
You're at Addison, right? So if one college coach messes up one of your kids, that college coach is probably not coming in that building again.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And let's say he's not even a starter for 3 years, right? The kid might not start till his junior year, but the kid still loves playing for that team. You know, you're still going to invite them in. But once that breaks and that thing's cut, it's very hard for a college coach to make that bridge back good. You know, I think that's very important.
Yeah, because Division III is a little different. I remember coaching a couple years ago when I had kids. It's Division I or bust. It's 1AA or bust. And I wasn't trying to be the jerk. They're juniors or seniors. And one day I finally kind of snapped and I said, one wanted to go, you know, I don't know, Northwestern, let's just say Northwestern.
Yeah.
Has Northwestern recruited you yet? Have they talked to you? I went to a camp like a year ago and I said, have you heard anything since? And they said, no. And I said, you're probably not going.
No.
Has Southern Illinois recruited you yet? No. I'm sorry, you may not do that. Well, I could be a walk-on. I said, well, let's talk about being a walk-on, like what that's going to look like.
You told the truth.
I said,
right?
Yeah, and I said, let's tell you what that, because I tried to walk on to play, and that's not pretty. It's not a good thing. And I said, what's wrong with Division II? What's wrong with Division III? Oh, that's not this. That's not that. That's not big time. And I'm like, there's good football at Division III. Like, where I was coaching at, that's near Millikan University, and they were scoring 50 points a game. And he's a wide receiver. And I was like, why not go there? You're going to score 50 points a game. You're going to have a JV team where you can play until you get to the varsity. And no, that's Division III. That's not good. And I said, Jerry Rice played Division III.
Walter Payton. Well, no,
Coach
Walter
Payne
Payne
played.
played
He
what is
played
it?
at
Double A, right?
yeah, and then I also promoted in AIA. I said, what's wrong with that? Oh, I don't know what's wrong with Division 3 concept of it's not the best.
Listen, here's at the end of the day, this is what I'm going to say to you. Like, and this is what I would I even tell the kids that disappoint them. If they're going to give you money to play football at a Division 3 or Division 2, take it, because you're going to play more, possibly. I'm not saying you will. You're possibly going to play more. You're going to have that high school atmosphere. You know what I mean? When you go to Southern or Northern, I'm not knocking any of those, or Northwestern or whoever, or Notre Dame. There's like 500 kids in a class. Your professor is not going to know. It's going to be like remote learning, but
Mm-hmm.
in person before the pandemic, and I don't know. I'm a liberal arts guy. I went to BC in Kansas with 800 kids, transferred, went to Loris. They had like maybe, I don't know, 3,000, if that, even if I don't even know if that was that many at the time. I was very fortunate to play 5 years of college football, because I broke my ankle in half. But I think it's awesome. I even played indoor football. I know I didn't say that earlier. I played indoor football. I played indoor football right before my dad got cancer, and I had my own football card. I played for the Rock River Raptors. Was I a starting quarterback? No. But did I eventually go on to coach for them? Yes, because I helped them. And they saw it. They saw the worth, and I could do, even if maybe I was on my end where I'm 29 or something, but I was, or whatever, 28 or 29 or 20. I don't even know, because I got hit in the head too many times. But I thank Rick Richards for letting a freaking local quarterback play. You know what I mean? I thought it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I told those kids, like, no offense, Division 1. I know Division 1 coaches, and they care. I said, but Division 3, if they want you, that's honest to God. They want
Yeah.
you there. Um, and I know, and I kept promoting the JV thing. Like, you're not going to sit behind and watch for 2 years. There's some level where you can play, learn the system, and then your sophomore year, maybe they bring you up and you start playing more. Like, you have the opportunity to do that. Um, I know the big dream is Division 1. It's on Saturdays. Like, there's nothing wrong with Division 3, and they'll get you money. There's money somewhere,
Hmm.
academic scholarships that they're going to give you, and I think that's what scares kids away is there's no athletic scholarships. But like,
They're
there's a
leadership
way.
grants. They're leadership grants, I call them.
There's a way to get you in.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I got recruited by a school. I'm not going to say the name. They called me one time. The school was like $40,000 a year, and I was like, "No, that's not happening."
But they'll give you 20,000 grand,
Well,
right?
well, then like 2 days later, I got it down to 28, and I was like, "Nah, that's still high," and I wasn't going to go. In my mind, I didn't want to play there. I just kind of knew. Calls me back again like a day or two later. All right, the best I could do is like 14, like dropped it down to like 14 or 15 or something like that. And a part of me was like, oh, well, maybe. But like I was like, where's that money coming from? I'm not trying to call anybody out, but it's like, if they want, if it can happen, like
Yeah.
it's going to happen.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, um, if they need you or want you, or if you're high on their list, they're definitely going to help you any way possible. I'm not saying giving you money, but like, work study, things like
Mhm.
that, loans. And here's a cool thing. And I'm not going to try. I was not the sharpest tool. And, I don't mean to say this, but I'm dyslexic. So I write stuff backwards. I didn't know that until after the fact. And, even when I knew Coach Aminiak, when he stood in front of the board with me to help me get my education at Loris, and this is why I would say thank you, Coach Aminiak, because, he went to bat for me. And then I go to my master's in Rockford University, Rockford College now. They're called Rockford University now. They found out I had a disability. Every male's ADHD, right, Coach Steve?
Mhm.
But I'm not that. That's what's funny. They tested me to be dyslexic, not that. So, I appreciate like everything that's happened to me at the lower level schools. I think, it's great, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today with my own football company, besides teaching. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. So which one do you like better? You like high school more, or is there a part of you that's like, I know you do a whole bunch of other things other than high school, but if we just
Yeah.
focus on high school, do you like high school more or college more? Or like, is there a huge difference? Like, because I've always wondered that. Like, my goal was always college. Now, the
Yes.
more I do high school, the more I'm like, I think this is what I meant to do is high school,
Yeah.
and to do a college it's a whole nother thing. Like, because I'm gonna be 30, like, and it's like by that time I don't even know.
I wish I was that.
No, I say 30, but I have the knees of like a 55-year-old. Like,
So now we're in the same boat now. Good.
because here's the thing, when I played football, you kept the injuries to yourself, as stupid as that was. Like, whatever was hurting, like, I remember, your head hurts, pour some water in your helmet and go back out there. That's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, your back hurts, stretch it out, you'll be fine. Your knee hurts, oh, we'll put a brace on it. Can you do this? And those are catching back up with me. Things are cracking and popping,
Yeah.
and I'm sure there's a concussion or five somewhere that I had at some point. I think that's why here in a second, you're going to see me stare off. Something shiny is going to happen. I'm going to be like, oh, look at that.
You
Like,
like the thing from Up, the dog Doug squirrel.
yeah,
You're
that's
like,
that's what's going to happen. So back, see, I told you this was going to happen. I'm going to go
no, go
off, but that's
ahead.
okay. I've been watching too much Joe Rogan, so I'm going to be going all over the
You're
place.
like that one guy. What's the one guy that just wrestled and he just was on NXT last night? He's like the
Oh, Pat
punter.
McAfee.
Yeah, that punter
I love that
guy.
show.
Oh my gosh. Well, he just showed up on NXT. I saw it on Twitter and I'm like, holy cow, this guy doesn't get it. You know,
I
those are real athletes. I mean, like you're messing with real athletes,
Well,
dude.
he did wrestling.
I know. I saw. My son and I watched that. That's hilarious.
No, he's crazy, but I love it, and I'm like, I hope I can do a show that does that. You just hang out with your buddies and talk sports. He built that. Now, I hope that he was on the Colts. I know that's why, but that took a lot. Like he had a job for Barstool.
Yep.
ESPN wanted him, but he just is like, I don't like how they operate. I'm going to do my own thing. And
Remember too, he's like I remember he made a comment. I don't know, or he does it on every show. He's like the decade. He's like a decade punter or something like that. So like he always throws that at us. So, but it gets everyone to listen to him. You know what I mean?
well, gets everyone to listen, and then he has connections to get people on the show. He can get
Correct.
NFL guys. But what I like is they don't hold back. They'll tell you what they're thinking.
Yep.
They're not going to hide it. He'll say that, like when he started it, the 2.0 whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not fake. I'm not going to do the ESPN answer. I'm not going to do the Fox Sports thing. This is my thing. And so I respect that. I was like, oh, it's entertaining. When I have time for with remote learning, it's that or Joe Rogan. It's one of the two that's on.
That's
Like,
awesome. That's awesome.
but yeah, like, do you like high school more? Do you miss college? I know, just sticking to those. I know you do other things, but just those, like,
Okay, yeah. So like there was arena football I've coached for 2 years. Like one year, I remember one year I was coaching everything. I was coaching arena football, middle school football, like college coaching. I was doing all like in one like thing. I did that for a couple of years when we had like only 2 kids, and that was phenomenal. Or 3 kids, I forgot. Like I lost count after 5, right? But you know, the greatest thing is one, not having a supportive wife. You would not want to be a college coach. I'm going to tell you that right now because your hours are long. Your head coach demands a lot, and that's awesome. That's either Coach Clark or Coach Bill Deasing, our offensive coordinator at Rockford, or Coach Brand, or our defensive coordinator, Coach Brand, and just says a lot. You know what I mean? Like the commute was like a half hour, 45 minutes, so I would recruit on the way home, call a couple numbers. The greatest thing I liked my last year of college coaching, you were able to now start texting players, and that's gotten huge now, and that's made it a lot easier. But I would say, if I had to choose from now or this, I mean, with Coach Cacciatore right now at Rockford Boylan, I mean, I enjoy what I'm doing right now with him. I would say I would say it had to be, if I'm at the situation where I'm at Rockford Boylan, I would say I want to stay in high school coaching. I love what he does. He's a family guy. He lets me leave if I need to leave early. I just do offense and then I can take off. With the college coaching, I kind of came in late because school or something, because we start later or something like that. And CB was awesome about it. I don't think other college coaches would be, but I think it just matters where you're at in your life. If you want that challenge, go for college coaching. But understand this: Division II and Division III, they don't pay that much. So if that's your like bread and money winner and you have kids, health insurance is probably not going to be cheap and things like that. That's why I would say with the high school coaching, because you're probably going to be a teacher or something, and it's not as much pay, or it could be more. High school coaching could be more than the college coaching job that you have, and the hours, I don't think you have to work as many hours if you're a high school coach. I still probably do the same, but I don't know. I don't know how to say it. It's just like, I would just pick high school right now. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm at that age where I just want to do what I want to do, and then I want to take off, and that's why I appreciate Coach Catch. He got me out of retirement because I left coaching altogether. I left coaching altogether, and the only reason he came back to me, he saw me coaching flag football, my son's flag football team, and he goes to my wife, "Why aren't you coaching?" And I remember talking to him like on the way from Chicago to the Minneapolis Metrodome because I was doing an event for the Minnesota Vikings that next day. And we talked, and then we scheduled an appointment, and then we had like a 3-hour conversation at his place. Put me on the board. We talked all X's and O's. He said, you played quarterback, even though, I mean, I just got done winning I love defense way more. I love coaching the linebackers or secondary way more than I do quarterbacks and receivers well, right now I teach you quarterbacks and running backs at Boylan. So, I don't know. I'm going to say offense. I apologize. Just rambling now.
No, you're fine. That's what this is.
I mean, high school. I'm sorry, high school, not
Yeah,
offense.
that's why I call this the sideline. We all know what it's like. We all know, and all the stuff, especially if you're up by a lot or getting your butt kicked by a lot. It's like, well, we're going to talk about like it's one or the other. No, I love high school. I love high school. That's my thing.
And here's the thing with all these coaches listening to your podcast. Oh, sorry, show. All these people listening to your show. Think about this, and how many coaches have had this done to? You coach in a program, you go 0-9. I've done it before. You've probably done it. You think you're the worst coach known to person, and you go home and you take it out on your significant other. Like, why am I even coaching this year? Why am I even coaching anymore? Like I had that experience, and I was like, you know what? I'm done with coaching. I want to get out of it and done it. And then I'm like, I'm never going back. And my wife's like, you'll be back next year. And then I didn't go back next year. Usually I go back like next year. And then I didn't go back. And then I didn't go back. And then all of a sudden I landed at Boylan, and I haven't left since. So if you're, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, I think that's my calling. If you asked me I wanted to coach since I was 15. When I was 15 years old, I knew that's what it was going to do. And in high school, I said, I'm going to be a college coach at the age of whatever. But you don't know what goes into it. You don't know all that. And then when I started researching all the football you have to know, and then it became who you know, not what you know. And I was like, well, I know nobody. So that turns into this thing.
That's huge. That is huge. I don't care what anybody says. It's who you know nowadays.
Yeah, because we can all draw stuff up on the board. And then the last person that gets the marker or the pen wins, because you can do whatever. And a lot of people are starting to say that when I talk to people and they get hired is, yeah, I drew some things on the board, but that was 5 minutes. Like they just want to know certain things. It's more of them talking to you. And then sometimes they already know who they're going to hire. They just brought you in to talk to you.
Yeah, I've had that happen in a high school before. I went in and I felt like I was the best candidate. The people at the round table said I was the best candidate, but then they already gave it to the guy they were going to hire. You know what I mean? So that's another reason why I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to go back or something like that, or be head coach or things like that.
Yeah, and I just love seeing high school kids succeed. Like college, I know it's the same thing, but high school, I just love it. Especially, I was at East Aurora last year. Not to call them out, there's some low income, and that was my first experience with that. Like, and to see those kids graduate high school was just like the biggest
It's a
thing.
blessing. It's a blessing.
Like we gave out peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on Fridays before the game, and that was what they ate. And then they had to take some home. That's what they were going to eat. And I was just a wide open experience. And so that's why I get mad when I see people like they were glad we're not going to play till the spring or not play at all. And I'm like, if you knew what some of those kids went through and why sports and school really matter, like it's heartbreaking. And so that's why I'm like, I think high school is the thing. College they're taken care of, like, but high school they're not. They need someone else. So
yeah, I think that's another thing too. High school is it. You can be a more role model for them, where when they're in college, they're already at that point where they've already made their decision. You can't mold. That's why I love teaching elementary. You can mold the kids still at this young age. Once they have some bad experiences here, and there, they're done. You know what I mean? So it's just tough.
yeah.
I mean, I think kids need to play sports, but also this whole thing going on, we don't know how dangerous it is or things like that. And I don't want to get into like politics or anything about that stuff, but I'm gonna tell you right now, and you tell me this if I'm wrong, Coach. If it wasn't for sports, I guarantee you I wouldn't have that lovely wife upstairs with those 5 kids. I don't know if you would be the same, but I wouldn't have my job. I wouldn't have met my wife, wouldn't have had my kids, and I sure wouldn't have my company if it wasn't for football.
Yeah, because when this happened, I was so irate when I saw people posting this. And I'm getting off topic. I did like my own podcast episode. I said why sports matter. Now I rambled and I turned it into like college and NFL. I talked about economics. Like if you don't have sports, that
Yeah.
you think the economy's bad now.
Yeah. Just wait.
And I named off jobs people weren't thinking of, like dietitians, nutritionists, strength conditioning, therapy. I just went off. But like at the beginning was high school, and I said it's not just playing the sport; it's what the sport does. What you put into the sport, it gives back. So, like you said, it's life.
Mhm.
It could be graduating high school. It could be even getting a job. Like there's kids that may not go to college, which is fine, but that coach can help them get a job and get them on the right path and do that. That's fine.
Mhm.
And so I kind of went off on. I let it bother me. It sat with me like 3 days, and I was like, I can't take it.
Well, think
Um,
about a team. If you're on a team, it's almost like a job. Because
mhm.
I don't care what anybody says. I'm not trying to be rude to anybody. When you go to college, no matter what level you go to, you're getting paid to play because they're giving you a free education. You're getting grants or something. So at the end of the day, it's like the head coaches. Those college coaches are your bosses. If you don't listen to them, just like if a high school kid doesn't listen to you, playing time is not going to happen. I don't think,
No,
unless there's only 13 players on the team.
well, even then,
So
even then, you're like, nope, you got to put your foot down. And like and you try to tell these
you
kids,
have
like,
to.
if I don't show up tomorrow for school, I don't make money. Like, if you just don't show up, like, and I got that from my parents. They show up to work every day, flu, not the flu, nothing, like whatever.
Can't do that now, though.
Uh,
Like,
My my dad hasn't missed a day of work.
yeah,
My mom works from home. I have to be in the building no matter what. So uh, I wear my mask. I go in and I get nervous about it, but I'm just kind of like, at this point, I'm like, well, this is life
yep.
now until they come out with a vaccine or whatever.
Just don't
This
take the
is
first one, boss.
no,
Wait.
we won't be able to afford the first one. The first one's going to go
Oh
to the high and
gosh.
mighty, and that's we'll move on. But the last thing, I hate how politics comes into everything. You
Yeah,
said
I'm
that.
sorry. I
No,
apologize.
everything is politics, and I hate it. I know the debate's going on, and I don't even care. Like I don't.
Well, at
I'm
least they
over
can
it.
mute him this time, so that's a good thing.
Oh man, that's not going to be as fun to go back and look at.
Trust me, he'll still probably say something under his breath, so you're fine.
I don't
So
even watch it. I'll watch it. I'll watch the highlights in the morning.
that's funny.
Um, so before we get into like all the stuff you do, I'm just always curious
Sure.
what kind of offense you guys do in Rockford. I'm trying to think how far Rockford is from here, but like or at your high school, I mean. But um, so what's your guys' offensive philosophy, defensive philosophy? Like I don't know how you guys
Oh,
roll up there, up northwest.
yeah, like I'm from the south side of Chicago, right? I went to Revis and I'm like around that area. So like when I came up to Rockford and when I started coaching in Rockford, it was a little different, right? With us, we're a spread team offensively. Defensively, we're a three-man front team, typical. And I love it because we have a new defense coordinator. I loved Coach Sal, but he stepped away because he's been coaching a lot of years. And Coach Z is going to do a great job, I feel, for us. Our head coach is like our offense coordinator, and he does a great job. And I love how, as a head coach, he empowers his assistants. And if you know what you're doing, he doesn't like look over your shoulder, right? He like lets you go do your thing. And I really appreciate him that for doing that for me. Like, he'll like, I love it at practice. He's learned now where just leave the practice plan blank in my sections because he knows I'll like cross it out and do it everything. And then I think I know he's probably like, yeah, I can't believe you're telling these people this, but I probably drive him up the wall 1,000 times, and he probably like appreciates it like 5% of that 99. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
but he still owes me a lot of money because we always bet $1 sometimes. So he does owe me a lot of money. I think we're at like $67 right now. So, but we won't go into that. But yeah, we're just a spread team. We try to do whatever we can do, run or pass. We try to stay balanced defensively. I wish I could tell you what we do defensively, but I'm not there.
Mhm.
So I just know Coach Z taking over, and I know he's going to have the defense ready for week 1, and hopefully everything works out when we start playing back in the spring or sooner. I don't know when we're going to start playing, but hopefully when we start going back, I hope we have a great season and go from there. And those seniors can go off into the sunset because they've had a great run. I mean, last 2 years we've been doing better and better, and hopefully, well, this year we don't have state playoffs, so hopefully we can pull something out like we did last year.
Yeah, playing in the snow. It's gonna be fun.
Can't.
February 15th.
Well, think about this. Ready? So now instead of doing the playoffs, like you know how we have regular season where it's all hot, and then we have the playoffs where it's freezing cold. Now, if you think about that, it's reversed. So the
Mhm.
spread teams are going to have lots of fun when it's the end of the season, where where the running teams, the foot to foot teams are going to be so much more successful. They have to be so much more successful because I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen it before. When you're snapping the ball in snow in shotgun, it's not as easy as it is when it's hot outside. Because people will be like, oh, well, they're sweating so much. I'm telling you this right now. If you're an offensive lineman, you know this right now. Your center should have wristbands on because then they'll never sweat to the ball. You know what I mean? And I guarantee you probably have your guys in gloves because if they're in gloves, when their hands are down, you don't see the white of the knuckles.
Mhm.
You know, then they know that because if you don't have gloves on, you can tell what they're doing. You know,
Yeah,
so
and before our contact days got halted,
yeah,
we were focusing on special teams because people aren't thinking about kicking the ball and doing that type of stuff in the snow.
yeah, it's gonna be insane.
So kudos to our head coach. That was one of the first things he goes. He goes, "Yeah, we're gonna install a base defense and a base offense, but we have to focus on special teams. That's the first thing we're gonna do in practice. We're gonna kick the ball. We're gonna punt the ball. We're gonna long snap because if we're in the wind, like if it's 5 degrees outside without snow, that's still going to be hard to do. And so kudos. I don't know if people are thinking about that, like focusing on that. And like I'm the run game coordinator, which is fancy way of saying I'm the offensive line coach. But
Exactly.
like he's like a lot of pressure's on you because we're probably going to run the ball
You should
at the
run the
beginning.
ball.
At the beginning. And so I said, all right, so that means power and power and power. That's what we're going to do.
And if that doesn't work, you know what you run? Power.
Power the other way
Yeah, power the other way. But
or
here's the
power
thing.
read.
What's funny is here's the thing I tell the players, and I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I tell my quarterbacks, no matter where we go or play 7-on-7, you're wearing helmets and shoulder pads. I don't want you to warm up with nothing on. I don't want you to play 7-on-7 without pads on. I don't even care if they say you can't wear pads. The quarterback doesn't get hit in 7-on-7. You wear your pads because that's how you throw in a game. And then if you wear rip pads, you wear those too. Well, coach, it's like 100 degrees outside and so on and so on. I go, I don't care. Whatever is 100 degrees out, the humidity in August in Illinois is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
How many teams are not conditioned? The greatest thing I can't wait to see is this. And I don't mean to like give a tidbit, but if they're not conditioned for the cold, they're going to be in big trouble because you know how it is. If you played in the cold like I played in the cold, when you get hit in the cold, it's way different than getting hit right now if we're doing contact days. Okay.
Yeah.
It's way different. And doing the special teams is a great idea because that's something we do all the time. We're always long snapping and doing that stuff because I'm going to tell you right now, we lost a game one year, my first year there. That was the only game we lost in regular season. We had 3 muff punts and we lost. And I'll tell you right now, after that, we learned the word poison because after
Mm-hmm.
that, we just said poison it the rest of the time, most of the time.
Yeah, that's why I'm not the head coach because my stupid self, I didn't even think about special teams. I was thinking of a normal practice, like you fit in somewhere. And he brought that up, and I was like, he called me on the phone during the summer, and he was like, "This is," or once the Illinois made the state made their decision, and he called me and he was like, "Yeah, this is what we're going to do." And I was like, "That's a good idea. I didn't even think of that." Like,
It's a great
I,
idea.
I'm focused on offensive alignment stuff because it's a new school. It's my first time. I'm focused on that. He brought that up because I've been doing this for 11 years or so, so I've had experience. So I'm like one of the guys he calls, like I'm new, but he still calls me and he's like, "What do you think about this?" I was like, "That's brilliant. Like I didn't think of that."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Or we just don't punt, and that's fine. Like we just don't even punt the ball. We'll be fine."
No, you're fine. You know, because here's the thing: if you get 4 years to carry, you know what 4 times 3 is. I tell people 12.
That's too much math for me. I don't know.
See, up in the box, I'm doing that already because I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, we're just gonna run this for 5 yards." That's insane.
Um, so
Sure.
how did you come up with back to the basic stuff? All your foot. Let's just get into that.
Okay.
We'll just dive into that, and that could be we can start to talk about that and slowly wrap
Sure.
it up for you. How did
Yeah.
you come up with? Let me back up.
Sure. Go ahead.
How did you involve gaining coaching with Australia? You told me that,
Yes.
and I wrote it down. I have it circled, and I almost forgot. You see, this is what happens. How does that happen? How do you end up coaching over? I know you did it from home, but like, how do you coach
Oh,
women's
so yeah, so that
football?
one, yeah. So yeah, so again, like I want to thank, there's a lot of people I want to thank because we got like when we talk about my company, I want to thank Kevin Wilson, Darren Mitchell, and all the GA board. Well, what happened last week, because I don't know how fast your Zooms go, your shows, I'm sorry, get put up. Last week, I think it was what, the 16th, October 16th. So that would be the October 17th because they're a day ahead of half. They're a whole day and ahead of us, right? So at Friday, they had a coach overseas. He quit on them. He was the head coach and the OC. And probably like a month ago, the Coach Spears, she's also the quarterback, and it's women's football. So I think no matter what gender it is, it's great. Especially ladies, they want to play, let them play. And I met her through the Outback, and we'll have to backtrack after the next question is. So she sent me the playbook. She's like, Coach Stone, can you look at this playbook? And I looked at it, and I'm seeing little things just like what my company does. And I did it for a favor. I just wanted to help them out because if someone calls me and says, hey, do you mind doing us a favor, things like that. And then I said, you know what? I'm free on Friday. Why don't you let me coach the team? And she's like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, don't worry. It's like you got left behind. It's free charge, blah, blah, I'll do it. And I said to the ladies, I said, listen, if you run this play correctly, you will score on the very first play of the game when we are on offense. And the head coach, they nominated a new coach, KG, and no one in New South Wales, that's one of the states in Australia, supposedly they never had a head coach go out for a coin toss. You probably don't believe that, do you, Coach Steve? They've never really had a head coach go out to coin toss. So she's like holding me like this with her headphones. And I said, listen, go. And she's like, Coach, you're not supposed to. I go, listen, you're the head coach. I really don't care. Just go out there and blah, blah, blah. So she goes out there and the other team wouldn't even shake her hand. I don't know why. I was like, wait, they didn't even shake your hand. Was it because of the phone? And I'm like, that's it. We are scoring on the very first play of the game. She's like, no, we're not. Coach, relax. I'm like, I don't care. They just shake your hand. We're going to score on the very first play. And we kicked off. We stopped them. And Coach Bryce is the defensive coordinator for that team. He just came aboard. He was one of my former assistants from the Outback team with the ladies. And he does an excellent job, very quiet guy. And he stuffed them. And what happened was I called the play, and we're playing sevens now. Remember, we're playing sevens on a modified field, and we called stretch. And on the defense, I saw how they aligned from last year. If we line up this way, they're going to line up that way. And the ladies did a great job. They all reached and everything. And as you know, line coach, you would have loved it. You would have loved it. And they had a first year back. I called her Turtle because I give all my players nicknames. I don't know if you do that. I called her Turtle, and Roadrunner handed the ball off to Turtle. And then Turtle just went for like about 65 yards and scored a touchdown, and then on the way, and then we stopped them again. And then we scored again, I believe on fourth down, the lady ran the wrong route and then she threw it. Stacy threw it and the lady dropped it. But then we scored in the very first, we're up 14-0, 14-6 at halftime. And then in the second half, we just opened it up. And then like with 2 minutes left, because they do a running clock, I go, hey, let's just kneel it. We're done. We're up 26-6. We don't want to score. And, KG, I go, call over Stacy. And she calls over Stacy, but she calls a timeout. And I'm like, why are you calling a timeout? We're kneeling the ball. Oh, coach, I'm sorry. But what I loved about KG is she was very attentive. She was a great head coach for her first time. I want to congratulate her because if she didn't trust me with her offense, it wouldn't be possible. And I guarantee you, like this weekend, she's going to be coaching the offense with Coach Wolfie, and they're going to do a great job. You know what I mean? And it's a bright future for Down Under with just women's sports over there, women's football or men's or juniors. They're like turning the corner. And then plus they hired me to do their coaching and coach accreditation program. That's why I said I wanted to thank them, and we could talk about that with the next question. But it was an honor. I mean, I don't know if you ever did that, but I'm like this, and I'm delayed for about 10 seconds, right? And my TV that's right in front of me is like showing the whole, like showing her screen, her little phone screen. And like I'm yelling, but it's delayed. So like imagine the play happened. And then I'm like, why did she do that? And then like, coach, the play's already over. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, like you got to tell her. And then it was funny because we get to the sideline and I'm like, Coach Cat's drawing it up. And then the ladies are all drawing up where they go. and then we're just making adjustments. And like I said, it was a true honor, like I said on Twitter and Facebook and social media, for letting Coach Stacey Spears, KG, and Bryce letting me like tag along for that one game. And then, I might do another game. I know I won't be there this weekend because of my daughter's birthday. So, but I wish them all the best. And I talked to the lady, they were texting me earlier asking a question, because they're changing the little things up. But, it was pretty awesome. I was shocked when I asked. I don't know why I asked, but I felt bad for the ladies getting left high and dry by the overseas coach that just was supposed to come in and coach them all, and he just disappeared. You know how that works sometimes. Like a coach shows up and then they look like they're like woo, like everyone loves them, and then it just wasn't meant to be. I think I think he was more like, I think, an O-line coach than he was like a true coordinator. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So now we'll backtrack.
Sure. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay. Like my mind goes here, and I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta ask this.
We're a great team, man.
So how did you come up with your football stuff, like back to the basics and all that? Like that seems like a lot, like the flag football stuff, working these camps, and this might be a long answer, and that's fine. Like how did that happen? How does that go? Promote it. This is your chance to talk about it and promote it.
Well, I appreciate that. And that's the thing. I try to keep my company as small as possible, right? Because like this past year before the pandemic, I could have scheduled 2 camps in the same weekend. But I won't ever do that because like it's Coach Stone football back to the basics. And if you ask like this logo, like this logo right here, right? I'll just show this right here. What we'll do, Coach, is one of your listeners will get a free book. The first one, the green one. A lot of people don't know about the green one, even though they sold a bunch of copies a couple years ago. It's 582 pages, over 100 drills, all 3 teams: offense, defense, special teams, tackling, turnovers. But what happened was, how it started was very simple. I used to work for a big company, and one day they just called me out of the blue and said, "We don't need you anymore." And I was like, "Did I do anything wrong?" And they're like, "Nope, we just don't want you anymore." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, awesome." Then January came, and all these youth programs go, we want you to do this for us. We want you to do this. And that company wasn't really running camps. Mike Haynes and myself, because Mike Haynes was already gone from that company. And my wife goes, "You know what? You should start your own football camp business. You'd be really good at that. You're a teacher and things like that." And then we came up with that logo. My wife came up with that logo. And you know how it is. The wife's always right. So I don't care what anybody says. You coaches might say, your wife's not right. Trust me, your wife's always right. So she's the one, when you come home and you lose by 40 points, she's the one that's going to listen to you, even though you're so pissed off. She's still going to listen to you, and she's going to like kind of put her arm around you or say, "Suck it up, Buttercup." Like my wife tells me to suck it up, Buttercup. Because I was down in the dumps when I got let go, and I was like I thought I did something wrong, and then all of a sudden, light bulb went off. That came about, and then when that came about, one company wasn't going to take no for an answer. So I said, "Sure, I'll do a camp." Then the company came, Coach Stone football back to the basics. Walk-in closet downstairs in our tri-level, all these football stuff, all these notes I ever took, all this stuff, my handwritten notes and everything. Even though you probably, like you said, your handwritten notes are like chicken scratch. I don't know. I'm not trying to be rude, but if it's like mine, it's like chicken scratch, right? Mm-hmm. But I know how to read them. That's the thing. Just like my principal makes fun of me. "Coach, your office is a mess." "Boss, I know where everything's at." Now, I did throw away 7 garbage bags this year. So now when she tells me to go get something, it takes me like 2 more minutes because I have to remember where everything's at, right? But so what happened was I decided to write a book, and I was on Creative Space. Creative Space is no more, right? Creative Space, you can only write 600 pages. That's all you can write. So I had more than 600 pages. Like I had way more, because I wanted to make one gigantic book, because no one's ever made like a big book before. They made a bunch of drill books. They made this. I wanted to do something where if the poop hits the fan, what do you do? Okay. You have a practice, only 5 kids show up out of the 40. How do you train your kids? Like, how do you teach your kids? How do you do this? How do you do that? Little tips and tricks. As an offensive line coach, I love garbage cans, probably like you do. Because the garbage cans, they won't move, and they don't mess around. And like when you're like, because the kids like the jaw jack. I call it gospel talk, right? And if the Boylan players are hearing it, they hear me, I say it, don't gospel talk at all. Okay, if you want a gospel talk, go over there. Listen, I'm not going to yell at you because I'm going to yell at you if you keep hearing gospel talking. Just go over there. I'm not going to yell at you. Even if you're like way away from me, I won't yell at you because then you're not interrupting anyone that needs to learn this part. So that's why the books were created. When I got to like the end of this book that I just showed you, I didn't have enough to fit. So my wife goes, why don't you call it volume 1? Well, I didn't call it. I wanted to be different. You know, you want to be different somehow. So this green book was just back to the basics, right? And it's like I said, it's got the 3 teams: offense, defense, special teams, and it's got tips and tricks in there, like garbage cans, cone drills, you know, the arch. I don't know if you saw this, or maybe I'll share it with you so you can post it. I must have used every single shape known to man to make all my books.
Mhm.
Like I have an arch. In my first book, I have an arch. The arch talks about insertion schedules. What are you going to do when you before practice starts and like before the season starts, like your insertion plan, right? Then you have your practice plans in the middle. So you take this stuff and then you put it here in the practice plan, and then you have your playbook. And that is how you go from one end to the rainbow to the other. And I say it in the book, it's your pot of gold. And the one thing I do with my books, I think it's different than other people. If you write a review, I send you free material. So if you ever read my Hold Away book through, now that I've gotten better with my books, like at the end of all my books, like in my volume 2, I think I started my volume 2, I started to say, if you write a review, I will send you this bonus content. All you have to do is ask for it. When my green book first came out, they would ask for like 1 week, they would ask for this. Second week, they would ask for this. Third week, they asked for this. So my wife's like, just put it at the end of the book or the front of the book. So we just decided to put it at the end of the book. And so what happened was, all I did was I wrote the green book. And then about 2 months or 3 months later, I had so much material, I could build like the offensive book, the defensive book, and the special teams book, and the volume 4 all together. So then I had 4 volumes. And that's how I had an offensive book. So like this book has like over 100 and something drills. I would say like 150 probably out of the 500 pages, over 500 pages. Then the offensive book has totally different drills, like over 20 drills or 30 drills. And it talks about like offense, be a star at your position. And it's got a star. And then I want to say like the just by thinking out loud, the offensive line is have a center, like one is stance and takeoffs, center for all, because I know if you're an offensive line coach, you better have more than 2 centers, because if you only have 1 center and one goes down, you know what happens, right? It's not a pretty sight at all. You know, blocking, reach blocking, pulling, you know, and things like that. And there's another point in there too. But I made points because when I was a GA, I would have to do all this stuff. And I started making stuff back in the day. Like I would do drawings. I'd sit in the office and I'd make phone calls. And instead of like playing a computer game like the other guys did, I actually wrote things or wrote ideas down. And then for defense, I made a diamond, you know, and then the diamond had like stance, you know, tackling this, and this, pass drops or whatever. So those were like almost, and then I had a honeycomb for the first book too for offense. So then came volume 1. I talked about the referees, where they're standing at, what plays should they be calling, things like that. That would be one thing that was like a whole chapter about the zebras. And it has little tidbits about pregame speeches and things like that in all my books. So like if you were a head coach and you bought all the volumes for tackle, this would help you out immensely. And the one thing I appreciated with Coach Stacey Spears and KG and Bryce, they kind of went back to the basics because we simplified, like you said earlier. I say keep it simple, small. You know, I know you say, you know what you're talking about for your thing you were saying.
Yep.
So you keep it simple, small, and then the ladies or the guys or whatever you're coaching, they understand it. Now people say, well, your book's only for youth, and it says a lot about youth, but you understand this. We use it at my school. Like if you get my volume 1 book, it's like a little bit of our offense. It's, you know, stuff that I brought in, not the stuff that, you know, we like is actual stuff, but it's stuff I brought into the high school. And, you know, volume 2 talks about the square, about the box, right? Because if you're a defensive coach, like I call it CSF coaching tip, right? Coaching the box. One is you call a front, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You call a stunt if needed. You call a blitz if needed, and you call a coverage. That's your defensive call. You shouldn't have that much more. You shouldn't have no more than that. You know, and if you call a blitz, then the blitz and the stunt are probably together. You don't have to say like, you don't have to say 50 slant Oklahoma or something and then green. You can just say 50 Oklahoma green, and then it's all done. You know what I mean? So it's making it simpler, small, and then recently I just got done writing my volume 5 book in July with my mom's edition book. Well, let's rewind. So after those 4 books, you don't mind if I keep talking about this? I'm sorry. I don't mean to talk to
No,
your
go
own.
ahead. This
Okay.
is
So
not about me.
I know, I'm sorry. I apologize. Just pause, just fast forward this. You don't want to hear about my books. So then I had a company ask me to build a flag book, because I wanted to do a flag camp for them. So what I did was I built and still to this day, it's the largest flag book on the market. It's over 500 and something pages long. It's got flag football drills in there. It's got flag football drills that they're blocking, because you know how some flag footballs, they have flag football leagues that block now. So I had to put some in there. I didn't put them all in there, but I did that. Then I came up with a didactic trapezoid for that. And then after that book, I created a tackle bar book. I don't know if you've heard about those, Coach, but it's a great thing. Like, it's so good that I said when I saw that company, Tackle Bar, football should now be like this: flag football, tackle bar, tackle football. There should be nothing in between that, because flag is all about pulling the flags. Tackle bar, you have helmet, shoulder pads on, and then you have the bars behind you. You don't need bottoms, and all you gotta do is, like, it's like a thud. It's almost like thud, right? I mean, it's a thud. It's a thud football game. It's pretty cool. And then you have the actual tackle. Now, when I played and you played tackle, we probably played when we were like kindergarten or almost, right? My mom wouldn't let me play until I was at 5th grade. And then every time I fell down on the ground and tackled someone, she thought I got hurt, even though I was tackling people because I was a defensive end. So I created that book for them, and that book has done awesome. And then they partnered with some big companies, and it's helping the game grow. It's helping the game grow so much. Gridiron Australia, in Australia, I'll get to that. They now have flag, tackle bar, and tackle football, but they call it gridiron football there. After that, then I wrote more books. I wrote a mom's book that went pretty well. I've had a quote book come out that my wife's like, you do these Monday motivations, technique Tuesday, teachable Tuesday, wisdom Wednesday, tackle Thursday, fundamental Friday. And she's like, you should make a quote book. And I laughed at her and I made it. And then I sold a bunch of copies, and then recently I just did my DIY books. And then I did my coaching edition book. And I don't know, here, Coach, let me show you this. I don't know. You tell me if this is funny. Maybe the coaches will like this. Maybe they won't. So when you teach something like a play, right? In my volume 5 book, we have the thing called the VARC, right? So I did this because there's so many different types of learners, and that talks about in my green book. VARC is visual, audio, read and write, and kinesthetic. If you explain to a play using those things, you can use, I would get my green book and my volume 5 because they like combine together. If you use those tricks and tips, your players will run the plays so much better. They'll understand it. And here's the thing, what I love about Coach Catch at Boylan, he lets the players kind of pick the play names so they understand it. Mm-hmm. Not just saying, okay, it's like this example. Ready? When you played football, what did you play? What position did you play? O-line?
Yeah.
Okay. So remember these days, I'm just going to draw up something really silly. It's not going to be, we're not going to say it's like, I'm just going to do it like this, right? I'm just going to draw up the numbers instead of that. So remember the days like this?
Yep.
Okay. So here's what I said, like when I did my green book, I was always taught 1, 3, 2, correct? Mm-hmm. You were taught that way too. And some coaches still do that, because I've spoke at the Buffalo Bills Stadium in front of 200 coaches, and a coach got in an argument with me because he still teaches this way. And the year after, he sees me at the same thing, because they had me be a guest speaker 2 years in a row, and he thanked me because he says, you know what? I switched that, coach. I listened to you, and I did this. I totally listened to you. 1, 2, 3. I did that. And you know what? The kids understood that. You know why they understand that? I said, coach, that's how you count. Because me and you weren't taught how to count properly, were we? We were 1, 3, 2. Mm-hmm. So that's some of the things I've done. And then, like I said, I got the DIY books where you buy the book and you can write all your stuff in there for practice. I have a small one, a big one, and then I have a playbook, and then I have a flag book one out. And I was very impressed because when those came out, they were a hot new release. I don't know if they still are, but they're still selling. And I appreciate anyone that's ever bought a book. Please write a review. I'll send you the bonus content of whatever books I have. The DYIs, remember, they don't have bonus content, so I apologize. And then I got a strength book coming out soon with my buddy that I coached, recruited him in high school. Now he's a strength conditioning coach. We're gonna it's about the size of the mom's book like this, and it's over 300 pages, and it's gonna be really good. And then I have my last book. I said I would never write a book after this one. It's my volume 6 for tackle coaching secrets, because I don't know how much longer I'm going to coach for. You know, with 5 kids, one playing high school sports and the other one now in middle school sports, my son, I think I want to like stay coaching some of them, because it's now getting more at the times where with my traveling with my business and stuff. That's what it is, because that's the thing. My books came to life in 2 ways. If you want to go to my website, coachstonefootball.com, www.coachstonefootball.com, or if you want to go to Twitter, it's coach_stone_MT, or you can go to Facebook, Back to the Basics, Coach Stone Football, Back to the Basics. And my website's got, you know, it talks about my football camps. If you want me to come do a football camp for your youth or high school or whatever, you know, and I apologize for just like jumping into that though. But if it wasn't for my books, if it wasn't for my first time that one youth team doing it, and then me writing those books, I don't think I would have as many camps. Because when I go speak at Glacier, I speak at that, I bring like 10 books or a set of books. I leave with like 1 or 2 books, if that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't like try to make money on them. I don't raise them up. I mean, I'm not lying to you. If you buy them from me when I'm at a clinic, they're way cheaper than they are on Amazon. You know, and the coaches are like, "Oh, you're only selling for that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because I mean, I just want you guys I want to grow the game. I love the game." And I was very happy when, you know, I'm just moving ahead. Like, I was very happy after I coached the Australian Outback team with the women, ladies, they had this position open for writing a coaching accreditation program. And I interviewed and I proposed it and everything. And I, like, again, Coach Wilson, Kevin Wilson, Coach Darren Mitchell, the president of GA, and the whole GA board, thank you from the bottom of my heart for letting my company do this. My books came to life. And like, if you've seen recently, we just had the 9 courses for the coordinators courses come out for them. And if you want to go to that, it's ga.coach, www, I think, ga.coachstonefootball.com, or just go to coachstonefootball.com, and in the right corner with certifications, just go there and boom, you'll go there. And it's got my shop in there too, if you want to go to coachstonefootball.com. I got a lot of my sponsors that go to my camps. I mean, I don't want to say them, because if I miss one, I know one will be upset with me. But if you go to the bottom of my website, they got promo codes and things like that. They do a great thing right now. Guardian Caps just jumped on board with us. I don't know if you ever heard of them, Coach. If you retweet, I think 3 coaches or 2 coaches, and like follow them, you could win 10 free Guardian Caps, you know, for this month. So if this comes out before October 31st, you have a chance to win this. So, and Coach, I want you to get listeners, right? So like I said, I'll donate a free book, you know, and I know I could probably talk way more on my company. You know, I got podcasts I do once a month and things like that, but you know, I like what you're doing, and you're growing the game. And if I can help you get to I know you were like shooting for what, 1,000 subscribers, right? So, and if you're close, let's do this. Like, let's say if you get done before the end of October, I mean, is that fat? You think you can get there? Maybe.
I hope so. We're sitting at like 760 some listeners right now, like downloads of the episodes or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
That's where we're
let's do
sitting.
this. Let's do this then. Like, I'll let this happen. If you guys start subscribing and he gets by the end, I'll donate 1 green book, and then you can pick, and then 2 other coaches, Coach, can pick any of the other books. Okay. So you can write that down, and when you share this, and however you can get it, I'm going to tell you right now, if you get your number, and I would just share it daily. Hey, our number is this. If we get to this number, I'll give out 3 books for free. And there's no catch, right, Coach? I didn't ask you to pay for anything or nothing like that. I'm just going to do it for you. You know, thank you for letting me be a guest. I appreciate it. You know, we're probably not done yet, but like I said, the green book for sure. And then any other one of the books, like you can have like, okay, this winner gets this. And then this winner, you get to pick whatever book you want from Coach Stone. Just contact them through Twitter or email. And then this coach, whatever you want. So if you get 1,000, I'll give out 3 books. If not, you just get 1. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll need that $20 back I gave you to be on the podcast. But well,
No, that's not true because you better be mailing that. I better be getting. I don't want to PayPal either, like I did to you. I want that extra dollar I lost. Oh man.
well, with inflation, I don't know. I don't know how
Oh,
with this economy.
hey, listen. When I went to Australia, I couldn't believe that dollar was so much. Our dollar is so much stronger there. I was super shocked.
Yeah, we went to Ireland a couple years ago. My girlfriend's family's all from Ireland,
Yeah,
and the one thing I noticed was you saw funky prices like, oh, this candy bar is $1.63,
I know. It's like,
and I'm like, oh, okay. So you go to pay for it,
oh my god.
it's $1.63, and I said, well, what is this? They go, well, that price you see is with tax. And I said,
Yeah,
what are you talking about? Like that's it. And so they had explained to me like, oh, in America, if it's $1.99, but you're
yeah.
actually paying like 208
208. No, it's like 220 now.
or two. Well,
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
this was like 5 years ago,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh. And then you don't tip at the bar either. I didn't know that. That was insulting to them if you.
Yep.
Because I went to do it, and they stopped my hand, and they were like, "You don't do that here.
Yeah.
This isn't America." And I was like, "Oh." And
It's strange because like I remember when I my company went to Australia last year for 14 days. We actually one of the states asked us to build a coaching accreditation program, and that pretty much sped up this process of what we have now. We have over 200 coaches, and there's still 150 waiting to get in, and like because they have to do a check, right? Because like someone like you, Steve, if you see my social media and you troll or you go to their website, you can like fill out the Google form and then try to get in, but you can't get in unless they like double check you, right? And I think it's funny when I went there, I would like want to buy all this stuff. And they're like, Coach, just wait till this day. And I'm like, no, I want it right now. And they're like, no, Coach, wait till this day. So then we wait till that day. And it's amazing because we went to this like flea market and then you could even barter. And Americans, you know how we are. Like,
mhm.
so like they say, like, Coach, this little thing is like $20. And then I'm like, oh, sweet, I'll give you 5 for it. Okay. I'm like, wait a second. What is like, and then like one person goes, well, they're not going to be rude to you. And I'm like, well, okay, so then I won't ask for $5. I'll like say 7 next time. And they're like, yeah. So then I go to the next person and they're like that. And like, nope, we won't do it. So then they're like a car salesman, right? I'm like, good. And I start leaving. They're like, okay, we'll do this for this. I'm like, okay, great. And then I come back. So, but yeah, it's been great with everything going on. Even with the pandemic, my company has exceeded. I did lose 7 camps though. I did do 2 social distance camps in Flag, and then like working with Jen Walter with Adidas, because I don't know if you know Jen Walter, the first NFL women's football
Yeah,
coach, Arizona Cardinals. Um, she lets me design her camps, and I travel with her to do her Gridiron Girls flag camps, and she's awesome, and that's how I got the Australian Outback job because we interviewed as a group of 3 coaches and we got it and it was a great time and we busted our butt and I thought the ladies had a great experience and then when we got done they went back to their clubs and the football got better, and that's another reason why they reach out to us sometimes or reached out to me and they said, hey, can you do this? And my thing is I don't want to be that person where it can't be done. I'll find a way. I'm a
mhm.
GSD guy, like freaking Coach Brand would say he called me a Boy Scout because if something was missing or a marker was there, he'd be like, I don't have a marker. And then I'd pull one out of my pocket in the locker room. And like, he's like, oh, don't worry. Stone's got the electronics. He'll bring everything, so, but yeah, it's been a great ride. And, the company has done great. If it wasn't for my wife pushing me to do it, honestly, I tell you this right now, I wouldn't have done it. I would have never wrote a book. And now you're like, well, now coach, you have 15 out. And remember, I don't know if I told you this, my first book was a PE book. It was called The Big
Mhm.
Four. There's a Big Four, and that Big Four book is like it doesn't sell that much. But here's the thing: if I go to a PE convention and I present, everyone buys it because it's funny. The Big Four is 4 sports: it's basketball, it's hockey, it's volleyball, and it's soccer. And you play it like that, and it's like a little season. It's a little book. And I remember my principal at the time; she's still at my building. She made fun of my book because it was so small. It was like this big and 100 pages. Then my second book came out, and it's like 3.5 pounds. You know what I mean? It's like, and all my books, all my drill books are this size. So like some of you guys will buy a drill book and it says like 100 drills or like, like this book will teach you how to do this. And they're like this big. These books are legit. Like the smallest book is volume 1, I believe. And then after that, like my junior edition that I did with Coach Upton, we did like a junior edition book, like with all like drills and skills for ages like 3 to like 2 to 5 or 2 to 4, like a little drill book like that. That's only 100 pages, but there's so much content in there. It's 8.5 by book by 100 pages. That's a lot. I mean, imagine making it a small book. Like my mom's book, I want to say is like 300 pages and it looks like this almost, but it's a smaller book, you know?
Right.
So I just want to give back to the, if it wasn't for football, and I know every coach says this, if it wasn't for football, we wouldn't be where we're at today. And that's why I pretty much know I'm going to start forgetting stuff. And if I don't put it on real paper, not my chicken scratch, I'm not going to remember it. So by my wife pushing me to have the company and write a book, I mean, it's great. Because like I said earlier, there's some stuff I don't even remember in there, you know, from writing it so long. I mean, I know it's only been 3 years, but seriously, 15, writing 3 books in like 15 in 2.5 years, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not going to write a book. Write an email is good enough for me. That's enough.
No, I'm like this. Here you go. Boom, I'm done. You know what I mean? Because, you know, some coaches, like, you know how it is, like, especially in college, if you write a paragraph, the head coach is reading the first sentence or the title. That's it. So just make it short and sweet, like you said.
Yeah, I was trying to write down what you said. So I appreciate you wanting to give out a book to anybody. I'll have to figure that out. Never done that before. And giving out 2 other books. You'll have to give me the details on that. But
yeah,
whenever I release this, guys, and you're listening, it might even be tweeted out before I release this. Who knows? It might be something.
Yeah, and like here's the thing. You said you need subscribers, right? Or what is it again?
Or listeners. I was looking at my podcast listens and trying to get to that 1,000.
Yeah, so let's just do this. If you listen to one of your podcasts, I don't care which one, right? Just like when you tweet it out tonight, or if you want to tweet it right now, I really don't care. Just say, listen, Coach Stone came on the show tonight. It was great to have him, even though you're lying. I know, because I'm like a chatterbox. And just say, listen, he's giving out 3 free books, you know, and I got $20 out of them. So, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, he's going to give out 1 free book no matter what. So please retweet it or download another show or subscribe to my thing. And if I get 1,000, and I'll start posting it like every day, like how many I have. If we get to that 1,000, he's going to give, you know what? Let's just do this. 3 books. So you get 1 green book and 3 books. How about that? So we'll make it a number of 4. So I'll give three books of whatever they want, and then 1 green book.
So 1 green book and 3
half hour.
one free book and three other books. Gotcha.
Yeah, if you make 1,000, I'll give out 3 other books of the coach's choices. So the coach can pick. If one coach wins the green book, and let's say somehow he wins the second book, then he can pick out any of the other books he has. That, I mean, and I'll do 1 green book for sure. If you make your quota, because I think you were, like you said, you were at 700. So every 100 you get, we'll give out 1. So if you make 800, I'll give out 1. You make 900, I'll give out 1. You make 1,000, I'll give out 1. If you go over, we'll even give out more. How about that? You know, every 100.
You'll definitely give me my $20 back after that.
But here's what I'm telling you: it's October 31st, because I don't want my wife mad at me. So I don't know how many days you got, but you have until October 31st. So
yeah, don't let the wife. Don't let her know.
Well, those don't post. Let's just do this. Don't tag her in. How about that?
Definitely won't do that. Well, Coach, that's literally all I had typed up to talk about. I told you I'm stupid simple.
No, you're fine.
So I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you giving away the books. I wasn't expecting that at all.
No, don't worry about it.
So I appreciate it. Any last words? Anything you want to say to anybody? You know, some people might be going through a rough time. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'm going to leave you with 2 things, okay? The one thing I say this year to all my students and my staff where I teach at, and the coaches and the players I'm with, is this is the first thing. Be mindful, okay? In my PE class, we cannot play catch. We cannot like share stuff. I mean, if we share stuff, it's got to be like the very minimum, like nothing, right? So shooting a basketball is probably not going to happen this year. Playing catch with your other buddy in gym class is probably not going to happen. You know, with us being in Illinois, it's tough. So no matter what part of the state you're in or what part of the world is, I'm trying to ask you right now, be mindful, you know, and if you have time to do stuff, watch Coach Steve's show. Go to my website, look at my podcast, look at my books, whatever. Because right now you have a time to reflect on everything, be also the times that you were always gone for your wife or your significant other, be there for them now more than ever. Because I'm going to tell you right now, what I don't know how my wife is not an angel. Like, she must be an angel in disguise, because when I go travel, she's taking care of all 5 of our kids. And Kara, I love you to death for that, because you let me do whatever I want to go travel with the company and to grow it and make it big. So I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate my kids. I know my daughter loves it because she always gets a snow globe. So, because she collects them. You should see how many snow globes we got, Coach Steve. It's ridiculous. But I want to thank them. I want to thank my in-laws, my family, everything. And then every coach that I ever talked to, coached against, coached with, or ever on the phone with, or ever contacted me, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Because without you guys, I would not be able to be where I'm at today. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with is this. And I always say this, like in my books, laying a foundation, one drill at a time. And Coach Steve, thank you so much. I'm hoping that you get your 1,000 listeners by October 31st. We'll give one green book away, like whenever you want. Just tell them to contact me, and I'll make sure we get a proper address. And then from now on until October 31st, every 100 you get, when you break the 100 mark of 800, 900, and 1,000, even if you go over that, I will give away a book of their choice. So they can pick from the moms, the flag, whatever they want, but it's got to be my book, tell them. So I know they're not one of my, I know no one wants my book, because you're like, Coach Steve's like, man, he's giving all these books away. But honestly, my books have won awards, so they are somewhat good, and you will learn something. I promise you that, by going back to the basics.
Well, I appreciate that. My first contest. We'll rip that Band-Aid off. We'll do that. I appreciate you coming on. Anybody out there listening, thank you for doing that. Stay safe, and I will see you guys next time.